Well, here we are. We are starting on our next project. We got done with truck 9 here just a little while ago, and now we're going to get this corn head ready for corn. We parked this chopper up this fall, went into combining corn. All we did is we just went around this head with the big air compressor, blew all the heavy stuff off of it, and just like typical fashion here, we'll wash it after we get done working on it. As you can see, everything's a little scuzzy here. But what we're going to do with this, we're going to replace all of these knives on the head. They've got 2 seasons on them, and they are mucho dull, aren't they, Nathan?
That's right.
So that's what we're working on. We want to just have this all ready and put it away. That's why we're kind of doing it now. We don't want to touch it again. We've got all of our new parts over here on the bench. They do have heavier blades than what was originally on there. There is a carbide tip on the blade, and these blades are wore down considerably. We would probably be able to get maybe part of the way through next season, but we don't want to stop halfway through to do this, because it's not an extensive job, but it takes a fair amount of time. We had to replace the blades on this right hand drum. Well, we only had a few hundred acres left. We had to replace these because one, we broke one or something, and I think it broke 2 of them, and then the damn thing started vibrating and everything else. So we had a considerable amount of work done to this chopper over to Kaz here this winter. We'll go in the office here in a second. We'll show you what we spent on it. But we ended up we ended up buying a new kernel processor. When this chopper was new, 2018 was the first season on it. They didn't exactly have a shear processor available for this chopper then. They were just kind of coming along with them. I could be wrong, but at that time there was 2 processors. The processor that we have and the oh Christ, I can't think of the name of it right now. Well, at any rate, it'll come to me here in a second. But at any rate, this shear processor is supposed to be a better processor to process the kernels of corn and corn silage. When I ordered this chopper, I did not order it with a compressor on it. I didn't think it was necessary. However, in order to run the shear compressor or shear processor, we had to have an air compressor, which was part of that bill of the work that we had done to this. This compressor was part of that bill, and it needs to be on there to push the lubricant to the bearings on the roller mill, on the oh boy, I'm getting ahead of myself here, on the actual kernel processor. So this is basically a compressor like a truck would have on it. Compressor's right there, driven off of the pulleys on the engine, and then we've got a, I don't know, a 5 or 8 gallon tank, and then we've got the oil or mister up here in the kernel processor. Well, the engine compartment, the front side of the engine compartment. So that is the unit here. It's got a hose that goes down to the actual kernel processor itself, which is in the chopper. We're going to go ahead and take that out here in a few minutes, because we obviously don't need it in there for hay. Now this processor is using a different drive belt than what we had on the other kernel processor. We ended up keeping that other kernel processor, and in the event that we go to buy a new chopper, we won't have to buy a processor. We'll be able to use this processor here on the new chopper when we get one, which will be a couple years. So they had to put it, I think I said that. Did I say anything about putting, they had to replace the drive pulley coming off of the, well, it'd be the blower shaft, and I just happened to think I need to get that old pulley back from Jake, so when this chopper gets traded off or whatever, we have the right pulley on there to drive the other processor, the one that came with the chopper. So we're going to start on pulling this processor out while Nate's doing knives. We'll help him back and forth. We'll run on into the office here. We'll show you what things look like as far as what we spent on it. Right there, Christian?
Right.
So have you got a thought of the day?
Thought of the day? That's his job. I don't know. Don't break anything.
Oh, okay. So what we ended up putting into this chopper was $53,521. Now, along with all the work that they did to it, we did talk about what got done to this back in a previous video, but we had all 4 feed rolls changed out. That bottom feed roll is just shy of $5,000. So things add up here pretty quick. We also had the Pro Drive rebuilt, just so that we don't run into any issues with that. Now, that kernel processor that was available on this chopper was the regular kernel processor, and the other one that was available was called the Kernel Star. I did not like the Kernel Star because I felt that it was not necessary for one, and guys had talked about having to rebuild the rolls after about 1,500 acres. Now I've got to look on here because I don't remember how many hours are on this. I think I gave out the wrong hours back when we did the video when this came back from Kaz. Now another thing that came with this kernel processor, it has this monitor here, which we will be able to monitor all 4 bearings on the kernel processor right from this little display here, which this is going to come out. I'll take this out here in a little bit. Now if I can get to the hours, so we have 3,744 hours on the engine and 2,396 on the cutter head. So we're getting up there in hours, but this has been a real good chopper, and that's why we have decided just to keep running it. We're coming into our seventh year, right? Yeah, our 7th year. So, got everything figured out there, Nathan?
Sort of.
Yeah. All right, don't cut yourself. Them knives are sharper, being that they've got wear to them, than the new ones will be. Yeah. All right. We'll get after it here. Well, Nathan is moving right along with this head here. I ended up going over to Han and picking up this gas drive welder. We had to have some work done to it. So that's gonna go back on the Army truck. I forget exactly what was wrong with it, but back when we were doing that manure line, it didn't want to power a Sawzall and or hammer drill anymore. So we'll jump up on in here and we'll get this kernel processor ready to come out. We need to get this wire harness unplugged from it. We cut the zip ties already. I need to get a cap to go on this plug. So we're just gonna stuff that up out of the way. And pull this belt off. The drive pulley. And then we'll go ahead and pull this up out of there. And take this oil line off. I've got to get some caps for this oil line. I plan on taking the line right off of the chopper itself, just so that it's not hanging in this area. But again, we need some flat face caps to put on there. Go ahead and remove these bolts. Get this plate off in there. So when we go to take this out, well, we could crank this guy up out of the way, I guess. Get it up here a little bit. Make sure this guy slides good. This guy's hitting down there. I think I've got to take that off. So that is the wrench there. Yeah, that's the wrench. Looked like it was gonna dig in down in there. I don't know how much you guys are able to see here. That's it. Yeah, that's it there. Alright, now we're going to get our winch pulled on in here. And we're going to hook Alright, so we got our clevis hooked on this processor. Now, we'll go ahead and get a little pressure on it. Now we got these little mounting guys that will remove. Bracket we gotta take off. Alright, we've got bolts and these tabs removed on each side. Actually, I don't have this one out completely. I can't get the ratchet wrench on there, so I'm not sure if I really have to take them off. I just thought that it would fish its way out of here a little easier if they were off in there. So we've got these M16 bolts that hold the KP to the actual frame of the chopper. We'll pull these guys out. Then we could start to pull it off of this frame here. Got the belt still on there, but alright, so we've got our fasteners removed. I need to stand up here. Hopefully you can see enough of what's going on. I don't know if we're caught somewhere or what. That's definitely wedged in there, so I need to get that out. That's got to be removed. So we'll have to take a regular wrench. I thought I had a 13 up in here. We'll just have to take it off with the open end. Bolts longer than it probably needs to be here. Alright. Now I get that out of there. Now let's try this again. Boy, it's wanting to get caught underneath that handle there. Maybe this cradle has to come up out of there a little farther. We put it won't come up any farther, but we let it down some. That seems to be the secret. We had the grass chute pulled up too far. Now, I might want to put that down a little further even yet. Yeah, so that's the secret to this guy. You can't have it all the way up. So we're hanging from the winch. So we'll see if we can't pull that up a little further yet. I've got a grease line or something hanging out here. We don't want that getting pinched. I don't know as if we have to take that stabilization bar off, possibly. It goes up to the neck there. I don't know. Alright, I'm going to take this panel off. It doesn't like to be on there. So, let that down a little bit. That's just going to feel better coming out. We haven't had this one off with the other KP, but these pulleys are a little different. Yeah. There's nothing else on there. There is. All right. That might make it a little easier.
By the way, have you heard anything about the Western Star?
I was up there. I'll talk to you about it later. Alright, I think I'm going to take this bar here out. So, I'll be back with you in a minute, I think. I don't know. Alright, so we had to remove this panel so we could get down in here in order to capture the nuts in the back of these cop screws. I don't know if they took this off when they put this in here initially, but it's looking like it's gonna make things a little more easier. I know, well, I'm almost positive that they would have had to take this off. I think I heard some chatter about that when they were talking about these shear processors back in the day when they first came out. Alright, so that's just the stabilization bar for the blower neck itself. Ooh, what was that? Some extra materials that I'll need to go after. Did that make it down around the floor? Nah, I don't know where that went. I don't know what it was. I think it was a bushing. Alright, let's go ahead and dig this guy out of there. Alright, I think I'm good. Boy, this is nice. Got this big pipe on here to hold on to. Come on, baby. I think you gotta go up a little higher. Come on. Well, you know what we can do? We can flop this belt off of here. Come on. Now I can't get the belt out. Go up a little higher. Alright, let me get down in here. Come on, get right out through there. Flippity flop. Alright, this belt's holding us up a little bit. Alright. There we go. There you go, Nathan. It's all yours. right, so we gotta get this rotated. I don't know which way is gonna be best here. Well, we might have to set this on a pallet before it hits the floor. I don't know. Here, you want to run the up and down? Here.
You want me to? Down?
Yeah. I think I'm backwards, but that's all right. Better than being. Oh. I don't know if it's going to.
Might just get it to
Yeah, tip a little more. I don't know if it stands up. Go a little further. Oh, it does stand. Okay, let's leave it hanging there. I'm gonna go and get a pallet to lay that on. And yeah. Looks good, doesn't it?
Sure.
All right. I don't know if I did it the right way, getting it out, but I'd rather graze that tire than that fuel tank. All right, I'm gonna go get a pallet, set that on, and then we'll get everything all put back together in there. So maybe I should show you a few things. So we have to remember that grass chute as it slides. It's all the way up. On the other kernel processor, we would set that in with it all the way up. We can't do that with this one. It's about, I don't know, it's maybe a third of the way down.
Gotcha.
And then, so we got to remember to do that. And then I had to take that support off for the neck that goes down. And then there's another panel that's on this side that I haven't taken out before. And I probably should take that guy off. So that would make it a more gooder in project.
Yeah.
All right. All right, so we have the shear kernel processor out of the chopper. That's this black one. And the green one is the original kernel processor that came with the chopper. It's just a standard processor, and I don't know if you can see good enough. I'll turn my light back off. These rolls have just got a straight edge to them, whereas the shear processor has more or less a crosshatch pattern. I don't know if you can see that well enough or not, but I'll have to see how this all edits together, and if you guys can't see that good enough, I'll have to come up and do this again when there's a little more light in this barn. So we won't see that kernel processor for another 6.5 months here. So we'll go ahead and get the chopper buttoned up and get the corn head finished up, and then we're going to come up and grab the hay head and go through that quick as well. Well, we're getting ready to put things back together. And this brace that goes up to the actual chopper neck, or the blower housing rather, has kind of had this area hidden a little bit. And I thought this was just, you know, a scratch in the paint, but it's actually cracked. So we're gonna have to V this all out and weld it, and we'll get this put on there. But this support with it bolted on there kind of blocked the view of anybody being able to see that that is cracked right there. So let's V that out, we'll weld it, and then get our support put back on there. I looked around on this here. I don't see any other cracks anywhere. So we've got just that little crack there, and we'll have to get her welded. Alright, so we're gonna V this out and weld it quickly here. Alright, so you got that. So we got that all welded up. We're just going to bolt this brace right back in there, and you can kind of see that this brace would kind of block that whole area there from being able to see it being cracked. So we'll get everything bolted up here. You guys can't see much, so we'll just kind of move along here. Alright, looks like that's all in there good. Now we gotta blow this area out here, and I've gotta get a couple of nut fasteners for that piece there. So I've got to pull this cover off. We might have to weld a tab with a nut in it down on that bottom side, because when I went to take this off, I had to cut them bolts. I need an extension. Man, that's tight. There we go. Alright, let's pull that up out of there. Gotta cut that guy off, and we've got to do something about putting a nut holder in right here. Alright, so I'll just get these panels back on here. I had to weld this rear bracket on this aluminum panel back to the frame. And we've got a couple of new nuts squeezed into that little piece of sheet metal. It's above the transmission. I'll just get this guy tight. And these are the two new nuts that I put in here. Alright, so that's in there. Well, we're just about wrapped up here. We'll go ahead and line this winch up and then get that tucked back away where it's supposed to be parked at, and then we could start working on the head. We've got everything buttoned up in there. I put a little primer up on that chopper neck housing. I don't have any green paint in a spray paint can, and I don't feel like getting a paint gun going just to paint a little bit, so we'll have to wait till we get a can of spray paint to do that up with. That's just about up there. This guy folded up. All right, now we're going to put the last of the knives on this head. This one we're going to take apart and we're going to put a new knife holder housing thing on there. It's kind of bent. So I've got a new one over in the other building. We might as well go ahead and get it on there. So we'll get this side off and put the new ones on. And then we'll work on that outside one there. Alright, so we have got the blades on that drum there, and then this drum we're going to go ahead and replace the actual hub that the knives go on to. This one is a little bent, and we have that hub sitting there, so these blades are good here. But what we'll do is we will leave the blades on that hub assembly, get everything apart, take that one off and bolt that one on, and it'll be ready to go. So let's go ahead and swap it out. Alright, so we've got this off of there, and I'll take it over to the bench and I'll show you how bent this one is. And then what we might as well do, well, I mean it's good and warped there quite a bit. It's bent here, it's bent over here, and it's just not quite true anymore. It was working. However, as long as we've got a new one, we might as well put the new one on there. So we'll have to clean all of this up, get all this dirt off of here, and we'll put that new one on. And then just put everything, or new one together, and then we'll just get everything all put back together here, reassembled. Alright, so we have our new one all put together, and we'll just save that other one for a spare. These blades are a little different. Kind of hard to see the difference between the ones that came off of the other drums because they were well wore out. But these ones here, we only did maybe 70 or 80 acres with them, and they are like new. This blade here is the heavy duty blade, and these ones are the standard ones. You can kind of see there's a little bit of a different cut to them. Now another thing, this job here minus this drum and these two brackets was $4,328. So it was $4,328 for the blades and the hardware. So we've got the yellow and black blades on this one, and the pile of stuff that's on the floor, which would have done the other 5 drums. Another thing that we have going on here, I'm going to grab my grinder, is on this outside end, this one snout has a support that comes off of this tubular bracket here, and it comes over and it bolts to the gearbox. It's cracked right there. So there's not really much that's going to hold that, so we're going to weld down through that, and then I'm just going to stuff a piece of flat stock in here. This side of the head sees a lot of abuse, because when you're opening up a field, I run the edge of the field on my right hand side, and usually I have a truck in behind me, and I try to keep an eye on this corner of the head. I try to keep a distance ahead of me where I can watch, make sure there's no trees down. And then of course I've got a truck that's within a foot or two of the back of the chopper. So I have to calculate things pretty well. If we have something up in front of us, I either have to go around it or get on the radio and tell them, hey, we got to stop, or lift up over the top of it. And we've had some issues here. So we'll get this welded, and then we'll put our spinner on, and we'll get everything all back together, and then I'm going to wash this head off. We got done. We parked it. We went right to shelling corn. I know, that's a horrible thing to do. You gotta wash this stuff, Andy. Well, we like to wash it after we're done working on it. So we'll get done with it here. We'll wash it, and then we'll put it away. How's that sound? Look, I found an old quality control tag when it was made. 6-24-1985. Ah!
Quality control in process traveler.
Alright, we've got that welded up, and now we're going to set the knife drum hub on there. And then we'll get everything else put into place as well. Okay, so we are now done with this corn head. We got it all washed up. I haven't figured out where I'm going to put this. Where I usually put it is in the building that has the corn planters in it. And I might wait to put this away until we get the corn planters out. Pull the corn planters out, put this in behind it, behind them. And then it'll be there and ready for when we use it in 6.5 months here. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to run up and grab the hay head. I'm going to bring that down and we're going to go through that quick. I need to also clean up the mess that is on the floor of the shop. I ended up taking this plastic piece off here too. Pulled all the garbage out that was in behind that. And that made for cleanup to go a little easier. Now we did blow this head off briefly when we got done chopping. There's a lot more debris on there than what you guys seen come off here after the fact. So we'll grab the hay head, bring that down, sweep the floor up, and we'll close out this video here. Well, I guess that's just about gonna do it for this video. We got the corn head completely ready to go for 2024 silage season, which won't happen till the middle of September. We'll have to check the oils on the gearboxes and whatever. There's no sense in checking them now because they could leak out over the winter here, or what's left of winter and early spring. Now we've got the hay head on. We're doing things a little different here. We wash the head before we're going to work on it. We don't need to do too much to this head. I've got a stripper plate that is bent down right here. We'll just pull that off, bend the tab back up in the air, and I've got very few teeth to put on it. Looks like we've got one there, a couple on the outside, maybe 6 or 8 teeth, 10 at the most. So I don't want to bore you guys with doing that. We've all seen that job get done before. I'm going to roll into that first thing here in the morning. And then I'd like to start working on that 9620. So with that being said, that is going to do it for this video. We put quite a lot of money into this chopper this year, but that's just the cost of doing business. Wear and tear. We're going into the 7th season. There's about 53,000 or so. What Kaz did do it was putting the compressor on it, new feed rolls. They rebuilt the Pro Drive. They put some new tie rod ends on it. The air duct hose that goes from the air cleaner to the engine, I wanted that replaced. They replaced that. Oh, I want to say there's a bunch of other things, but I don't really know off the top of my head, but it got up there in price because there was a lot of expensive parts put into it. Between that and the new shear processor and the knives that we put on that corn head, we're in the neighborhood of about 100 grand going into this season. Now I know some of you might say, why don't you just buy a new one? Well, this one works good, and it's consumable parts really that we are putting into this. It's wear and tear items, and yes, a new chopper wouldn't need that, but in a year's time, it would need some of that stuff. Not all of it, but some of it. So it just goes with what it takes to keep this stuff going. So with that being said, that is going to do it for this video. I want to thank everybody for watching. And we'll catch you at the next one. Take it easy, folks.